The AFCA, currently pushing for a 24-team playoff. That is the American Football Coaches Association, those of you that are wondering. You have to understand where they're coming from here. Okay, they want more job security, these coaches. They want to be able to go 8-4 and keep their jobs because they would be able to make the playoff. They are not looking out for the quality of the sport. They are looking out for their own job security. In other words, they just want a slice of the pie. They don't care how good the pie tastes. And what's my opinion on this? I am quite possibly the most anti-playoff expansion person you're ever going to meet. I'm in the camp that I would rather not have a national championship at all than have a 24-team playoff. Reason for that being is that college football was not built on crowning a national champion. That's not what happened for the first 100+ years of the sport. The essence of college football at its core, at its authentic being, is those 14 Saturdays in the fall. That's what it is. Anything that takes value away from those 14 Saturdays in the fall is like a poisonous virus for the sport. And I think that is exactly what this 2014 playoff would do. And you'll realize what I'm saying later when this eventually happens, because it's not a matter of if. Unfortunately, it's a matter of when. These coaches start resting their players in big games in the regular season. It'll happen. So I wanted to take this time and say, what's my dream playoff scenario? When I'm president of college sports one day, what would I do with the college football playoff? How would I organize it? Now, everyone's always asking, ooh, how many teams should be in the college football playoff? Should it be 4, 8, 12, 16, 24? My opinion is something you're never going to hear, and that's I don't think there should be a set number of teams in the college football playoff. I think the criteria should be based on solely this right here. If you play against a strength of schedule outside the top 20, you need to win 12 games. You need to be undefeated to make the playoff. If you play a top 20 strength of schedule, you need to win 11 games, 11-1. If you play a top 5 strength of schedule, you need to win 10 games, 10-2. So, with that criteria, you're probably wondering, how would the playoff look? I can give you the last few years to tell you how the playoff would look based on this criteria. So 2025 would have had 4 teams in: Indiana, Georgia, Ohio State, and Texas A&M. Teams right on the outside would be Ole Miss. He played the 22nd toughest schedule. Got a schedule tougher in non-con. Okay. Oregon. Their season ended when they got blasted at home against Indiana and didn't schedule tough enough in non-con to justify it. And Texas Tech. Their season ended when they lost to ASU in this scenario. Okay. And they didn't schedule tough enough in non-con to justify it either. 2024, you would have had just Oregon and Georgia. So 2 teams. But 2023, you would have had 7 teams make the playoff. Remember, that was the year when you have Florida State, undefeated, Alabama 1 loss, Texas 1 loss, Georgia 1 loss. So it would have been Michigan, Washington, Florida State, Texas, Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State. 2022 through 2019, you would have had 4 teams. 2018, you would have had 6 teams. By the way, in this criteria, those undefeated UCF teams, remember those that claimed the national championship, they would get a shot. So what you could do based off of this, because you do have to worry about sponsors, that's absolutely true, is you have a sponsored 4-team playoff, a guarantee, okay? But you do what's called a wild card weekend, meaning the committee or advanced metric system or BCS ranking or whatever's ranking these teams in this scenario would, after the top 4, determine, are there any teams that deserve to be in the college football playoff outside of these 4 teams? Sometimes it's a yes, where you get 7 teams like 2023. Sometimes it's a no, where you get at a minimum 4 teams. I think this would be awesome. And by the way, you play those games at home. Kind of like what the first round of the playoff is now. Those are essentially kind of wild card games, you want to call it. I think at its essence, that's what it should be. Because you crown a national champion, which I do think should happen, and you keep the importance of the regular season. You see, college football is meant to be like figure skating, not the NBA. What do I mean by that? Well, in figure skating, you make one mistake, you can redeem yourself, but it's hard. You make two mistakes, you're done. In the NBA, you reward mediocrity, which is exactly what this system is gearing towards. We're not the NBA. We're freaking college football. We're the best sport on the planet. You watch those NBA regular season games towards the end, players resting, crowds not giving a crap. Look, I don't think the fans of college football will ever let it go to that extreme, because this is just taking slight step towards it. And I think what we have here in the 2014 playoff is, instead of the biggest college football games being a night game at Death Valley or Neyland or Beaver Stadium or Jordan-Hare, we have the biggest games in college football being played at a neutral site at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas or Glendale, Arizona, which absolutely destroys the essence of college football. It destroys what makes college football the best sport on the planet, and that is, you cannot make a mistake. It's March Madness every week from August all the way to December or January. And that's what makes it so special. And this 2014 playoff takes that away, all because the coaches want a slice of a mediocre tasting pie.